Hello. So this is my old tripod stand. It tried, but it's not for this new project, if I may. So yeah, it feels flimsy, but well, it didn't break. It's just that this is the length. I don't know if you guys can see. This is as tall as it gets. Or if I do it this way. But now I have the phone on the new stand that I bought. The new tripod stand. So this one, yeah, my phone was always tipping this one over. So this one is just there. So yeah, I'm happy for that purchase. Also, I'm going to go test this leg that was hurting for like a week. Finally fixed it with medication. I leave. So let me go and test it out with quick run or jog. Did I say quick run? Quick walk or a jog or run. Okay, later. What happened with my watch? So I don't even know how long I ran for. It's saying it's 4.23 miles, but I don't think so. That place is usually three miles for me. Oh my god. I don't run I keep saying run, like I don't really run. What I do is jog. Sometimes I could quicken my steps, but for the most part I just jog. So I'm just taking it slow, and that was all I wanted to say. Then I went out to run, and then it started to rain, but I finished. So now I'm back. Work starts tonight. Maybe party before I go to work. Who knows? That's for this morning. I'll have to go and stretch. And then I'll wrap up this morning's workout things. You again, so welcome back to my vlog. I'm sorry, I just woke up from sleep after my night shift. The thing is, I love being a nurse. I don't know if I have shared this, but my grandmother, my late maternal grandmother, predicted that I would be a nurse. Can't even remember how old I was. I don't even think I was a teenager when she looked at me and she said that I should be a nurse. I didn't want to go into nursing at that point. In fact, when I got into nursing school, I still didn't want to be in nursing school. I did not want to be in nursing school. I did not want to be a nurse because in Nigeria, nurses, I don't know about now, but in 2000, I went into nursing school in 2003. Nurses were looked down upon. Nurses did not have respect. Nobody respected us. They call us Nurse Eliza. Whether they went to school or you did not go to school, everybody is Nurse Eliza. And then the nursing school I went to, they have this, I don't know if they still have that statue in Louth. I went to School of Nursing Louth. They have this statue of a doctor. I don't know if the doctor is running to something and then the nurse is carrying a tray with syringe. So those are just the impression they had about nurses, following doctor's orders. Like we don't have our own brain to make any kind of decision, So when I was in nursing school, I didn't know I would be a nurse, but my grandma, late maternal grandma, looked at me one time. Like I said, I don't know how old I was, and she said I should be a nurse. So 2003, I have tried to get into medical school. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be anything but nurse. At that point, I used to sew with my mom. I was like doing full-time tailoring things. But I finally went into nursing school. And then, as you can see, now we're here. In my scrubs, in all the other video, yeah. And I've had some bad moments, some good moments, some very interesting moments, and I've liked every one of them. I'm not the best nurse. I have some good days and some bad days. Yesterday was one of those days when after work, I came home, maybe on my way home, and I was reflecting on some of the things I did at work. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. But yesterday was just one of those days, and I felt like I could have done better for one of my patients. I did change it, but initially, there's this thing we take in school, cultural bias. Yeah, when you need to learn not to take away your culture, do not be culturally biased against some people, some of your patients, or any individual for that matter, not even patient, because we are all influenced by our cultures, the way we grew up and everything, even our past experiences. I remember what we take in school. It's called cultural competency class, so that you learn how to separate your cultural biases from those of your patients. Then I need to go back and look at my lecture notes. But it's cultural competency. Yeah, that's what it's called. So I have a patient. I had this patient last time. Alcohol withdrawal. And I think I was impatient with my... At the beginning, I just could not get that empathy for what he was feeling. I couldn't. Initially, at the beginning when I got him, I could not get that, get myself to be that empathetic to what he was feeling. Because he reminded me of my uncle that I lost. My uncle died of alcoholic liver cirrhosis, one of my uncles. When he died, I don't know anything about medicine. I did not know anything about, what alcohol could do to your system and everything, and any of that. But I knew how we felt. I knew the emotions. I knew the feelings that my late grandma, how worried she was, how should we get so angry, frustrated, and everything with my uncle. But he wouldn't listen. So we lost him. So when I got this patient, it reminded me of my uncle. And in my head, I kept thinking, we're going to do all of this, try to get you better. And then at the end of the day, he's still just going to go back home and do the same thing again and then come back. So why do I even have to care? But that was wrong, because at one point, my patient he was going to go use the bathroom, and I saw him. He was sweating profusely, drenching. His shirt was drenched in sweat, and this is after I've given a few medications, because you have to use a protocol to administer the medications that he needed. And I've given a few of this, and he was still no relief. And that was when I was like, at this point, I told myself that I needed to advocate for him. The medications we were using was not going to work. It's not working. That was when I began to feel the empathy. That's the reason I brought it up. I know most times I talk about the goods that we do. I'm glad that eventually I was able to do something for him, but could have been done sooner. I left work and I gave report to the next shift. He was feeling a lot, not feeling, I don't know, but he was sleeping. He wasn't as restless as he was. And the doctor also, I think the doctor was more empathetic at the beginning than I was. But I say all of that just because we are all human beings. I guess I'm trying to say that I was happy I was able to remove, separate my personal experience from what he was experiencing at some point, so that I was able to be the nurse that he needed for me to be, so that we could get him better treated. I hope that when he leaves, my patient gets better and he goes home, that he would remember the feelings and not repeat the same thing that he did before he came in. But it's not under my control. I can only do what I can do while he's there. But I wanted to share that little experience with you guys. So thank you. I don't know if I'm going to do anything else today, but thank you for watching. And if this is your first time watching my video, my name is Chioma Musu. I am a registered nurse. I graduated from Nigeria in 2007, and then I relocated to United States in 2014. More to come on that. Stay tuned.